You know, one of the hardest things about being a content creator or YouTuber with a sizable audience is that it's not easy to admit when you're wrong or to backtrack on a statement or belief. So I try to keep myself honest and show integrity and discipline by recognizing when I make a mistake and owning up to it. I've done that a few times with like my response videos where I've apologized for past response videos or where I've released statements saying, hey, I was wrong about this or whatnot. And once again, I find myself in a position where I need to do that. And in a way I never thought I would. I released a video not too long ago about why I didn't like Highlander, the character. Like, I just said that I was not a Highlander fan. I thought he was clunky. I didn't think that his moveset was very good. I thought that he had a hard time exchanging between offense and defense. I just did not like Highlander, and I made that very clear. Now, I had some people commenting on that video saying that they agreed. They didn't like Highlander. They weren't a fan of him. I got it. But then I got others who were saying, you know, it's a skill issue. You're just not looking at him the right way. You need to appreciate him for this, that, and the third. And I heard everyone's statements. I heard what everyone had to say, but I wasn't really bending on anything until this new Highlander rework came out. Now, I'm not going to say it was entirely the rework, but I will say that because of the rework, I have had to play Highlander a lot more to get used to his new movesets and his new abilities. And I will admit, I have had a lot of fun playing Highlander. I have actually had a ball playing Highlander. I don't know how to describe it other than it was eye-opening. Now, first of all, let me say this. I'm not going to sit here and say that the rework was the only thing that changed for me, although I will say it was a large factor, because I've noticed trying out some of his new abilities, like that running forward caber toss, his ability to feint out of his kicks, all these things, his dodge attack and offensive stance, all these things have been fun and they have felt really good to me. I don't know, something about it feels more complete. I have just had a lot more fun playing Highlander since the rework. But I will also say that I don't think it was just the rework. Maybe there was something all along that I was missing. I think one of the things that caused it, I think one of the reasons I didn't like Highlander after some reflection and thinking on it was this. People ask me all the time, who's my main? And I would say the same thing. I don't have a main. I play every character. I think Warden is probably the best contender for my main because he's my highest rep character, coming close to 50 reps now. But the reason why I don't really main anyone is I want to have a fundamental understanding and appreciation for all the heroes. I want to be able to understand each one and learn to play each one so that I can appreciate and enjoy all of them. But the downside to that is it means that I don't build a connection or relationship with the heroes like other people do. And Highlander is one of those characters that I didn't spend a lot of time with. I played him a lot when I was making the video for Iran and when I was doing a few other things. But just playing him regularly, doing constant work with him, I'll admit, I really didn't touch him all that much. For the reasons I said before, I felt compared to other heroes he was clunky. I didn't like the way his defensive heavies is just so slow. His crushing counters were good, but I didn't have the timing to get them right. I didn't like that his kick was so easily punishable. I couldn't master his caber toss. I just felt like I wasn't enjoying Highlander. I could play against people who were God tier at the character, which frustrated me, but then when I'd pick up the character, I would get destroyed, which frustrated me more. How is it that people can be so amazing with this character, but when I try to do what they do, I get destroyed? Well, the reason is simple. It's because they have built up that time and relationship with the hero that I have not, because I focus on every hero rather than just one. It is the price I pay for not maining any character, even though it does give me a fundamental appreciation for each character. But now that I've had to play Highlander a lot more and really learn to appreciate what they can do, I can now say he's a lot more fun than I gave him credit for. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say he's my favorite. No, even now, he's not my favorite. I think that title still goes to either Warden or Nobushi or Nutsha. Those characters, I would argue, are still my favorites to play. But Highlander is definitely no longer on the bottom tier there. He's no longer at the bottom. And I do believe part of it, like I said, is because of his rework. But the other part is because I've finally come to appreciate what he offers. Now, some of you out there who hate Highlander still will probably say that I'm selling out for this. I don't see it as selling out. I see it as coming to a new understanding. I like every hero in the roster. Fundamentally, I like every hero because each hero brings something unique. Each hero brings something cool or fun to the table, and that is good. There are some heroes that I can't stand for various reasons, like I just don't like playing against them, or I don't like playing as them. For example, Gladiator. I can't stand fighting gladiators. I can't stand it. They annoy the spit out of me. Kyoshins, I think their very existence is entertainingly bad. Like I mock Kyoshin's very existence. I think Ocelotl is Oonga Boonga the character. So there are definitely characters that I am not fond of, either to play against or to play as, but I like every character. There's no character in the roster that I regret being there. You know, there's no character that I'm like, oh man, they should never have added this character. There are some characters that I wish they'd rework. Like I'd wish that they'd fix Hitakiri. I wish that they'd fix Lawbringer. I wish that they'd fix all these other characters out there. But I've never looked at one and said, oh, this is such a bad choice. This was such a bad character and I can't stand them. I can't even touch them. That's not true. I touch every character. I play with every character because I think every character is worth the time of day. Highlander, I don't even want to say I ever really hated them. I just didn't enjoy them. I just didn't like playing them. And I think even now, with the rework and with all that I've said, there are still plenty of people out there who just say, I'm not a fan. I would much rather play Orochi, or I would much rather play Kensei, or I'd much rather play Lawbringer. And you know what? Fair crop. Totally fair. I get that. I understand it, and I even agree to some extent. If you gave me the option to play, even now, reworked Highlander and a character like Warden or Nucia, I'm going to pick those characters because I prefer those characters on a fundamental level. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I can't stand Highlander. Because, honestly, after playing him so much, I will say this. He has really changed for me. He really has. The moveset he has seems to fit his large, big, powerful personality. His sword at first, which I said was super clunky, I now see, especially in his offensive stance, he wields with a certain degree of grace. I still say defensive stance looks clunky, but I think that's why people flow into offensive stance so frequently so that they can get out of that clunky feel. But I will say, even in that defensive stance, there is something kind of satisfying about just going light, heavy, which is very much the no-brain style of playing Highlander. I actually fought a Highlander once who just did that light, heavy over and over again. And I was just like, really, this is all you're going to do? And yet it worked for him. He got quite a few kills just doing that. So there's something about Highlander that works, even for the no-brained. And maybe that was what annoyed me for a while. There are people who can just play him with no brain at all and win. And then there are people who have, like, a heightened IQ when they pick up Highlander. And for me, I'm somewhere in between. I'm like a ape from Planet of the Apes. I'm not quite human, but I'm definitely not crawling in the dirt. Like, I somehow get to that point where I can't be no-brained with him, but I also am not high IQ, which means I'm getting destroyed constantly. But I have had so much more fun playing this character. He has really grown on me. I've actually really enjoyed it. So, yeah, that's what I've got to say. So, to those of you out there who are hardcore Highlander fans, I now kind of get it. I now kind of understand. I've been really enjoying him since his rework. Those of you who still can't stand him, I understand. I get it. I was once where you are and even look back on those moments and go, yeah, I get it. Right now, though, I'm having fun. And I didn't think that I would have fun. But now I've got bad news for my community. I've got very bad news. Y'all had to pay me to pick up Highlander and play him. Y'all thought you were torturing me by making me play Highlander. Well, now you can't torture me with Highlander anymore. You're going to need to pick a new one. So anyway, that's all I have to say for now. Thank you guys so much. And as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.